Okay, so we're moving right along with our tic-tac-toe project here. And so what we have right now is we have it so that any box that we click in is going to result in an X being centered inside of there. Okay, so for this picture, it looks like I clicked somewhere inside of this box and I got an X in there. All right, and that should be working for every box. Okay, but tic-tac-toe has, X's and O's. So far we've just been focusing on X, and now we want to make it so that we alternate between X and O objects placed on the board. So in order to do that, we're going to keep track of turns. Okay, so we're going to have turns in our game. Turns are counted in whole numbers, right? You get turn 1, then turn 2, then turn 3, then turn 4. We don't get like turn 2.5. Okay, so what type of variable should turn be? Should be an int. Okay, so we want to say that this thing is an int over here, and then we want to decide on a starting value for turn. So what's a good starting value for turn? 1, right? We usually start with turn 1. So we could say that turn is going to start at 1. All right, so what we really want to do here, all right, is we want to make it so that the mouse clicked method does 4 things for us. First thing it's going to do is assign the position of the mark to be created. That's what we talked about the other day. Okay, and that's if you have that so that you can put an X in any one of the 9 squares, then you're done with step 1 for mouse click. We want to create an appropriate mark depending on the turn. Okay, so like when turn is 1, what do we want to make? An X. And when turn is 2, what do we want to make? An O, right? That makes sense? So we haven't done that yet. We're going to work on this one today. Okay. Then after I click, I want to make sure that I increase the turn variable, right? So that, like, first time I click it, turn should be 1. After I click it, turn should be 2, right? Because now it's turn 2. Now it's O's turn. Okay. So I got to make sure I do that. And we already have repainted the frame. That's inside of our mouse click method already. All right. And so let's talk about the idea behind this, and let's go over to Eclipse. Okay, so I want to kind of refresh your memory here about move on click world here. So this is something that we did a while back, and let's just go ahead and we'll run this and just kind of remember what happens here. So the idea here is that we're clicking, and as we click, we're moving this circle around to the point that we did click. So we did that with X and Y, with a draw method, and with a mouse click method. Okay, so if I wanted to keep track of like how many times I clicked, okay, which is kind of like a turn, okay, if I wanted to keep track of how many times I clicked, I would have to add another variable in here, and maybe we'd just call it something like click count. Okay, and since I haven't clicked at all yet, I'm just going to set click count equal to 0. Okay. Then every time that the mouse is clicked, we're going to take click count and increase it by making it whatever it was before plus 1. All right? And if I wanted to keep track of what click count was, or if I wanted to be able to like say what it was on here, maybe I would draw out a string. All right, maybe I would draw out a string that like basically tells me how many clicks I made. All right, and we could say something like this is at 450. All right, so what I've done so far here is I've said we're going to add a variable to keep track of clicks. Every time the mouse is clicked, we're going to increase that by 1. And then when we repaint, we should see that clicks equals some click count. That value should change every time I click. All right, so let's go ahead and run this. Okay, so now we have the circle in there. I don't know why it keeps bouncing from there to there. I'm not sure what's going on there, but clicks equals 0. Okay, now when I click, I'm seeing that every time I click, my variable there is increasing as I go through this. Okay, so you kind of think about this like if that was a turn, right? what do I want to have happen when turn is 1? What do I want to have happen when turn is 2? What do I want to have happen when turn is 3? Okay? So that might be enough for some of you to kind of figure out how I want to apply that to my tic-tac-toe game. So then the idea here would be, and again, we can kind of go back to this, right? And we want to say, we want to create the appropriate mark depending on turn, right? So how do I make a decision? Like, we already kind of talked about this, but let's just restate it one more time. When turn is 1, what do I want to do? Say it again. Draw an X. Okay, so which X do I want to make when turn is 1? So, like, how many X's do we have?
5.
We have 5 X's, right? Which one of them do I want to make when turn is 1? I want to make X1. Okay. And which object do I want to make when turn is 2? I actually want to make O1, right? All right. When turn is 3, what do I want to do there? Make X2. Okay. When turn is 4, I want to make O2. Okay. And then that's going to continue on like that. Can you grab that? Okay. So in the tic-tac-toe game, then what we're saying is we need a new variable. We have a new variable in here. We're going to keep track of the turn that we're in. And what did we say turn should start as? It should start at 1, right? Okay. And then, down in mouse clicked, so again, we're going to start deciding where the next mark should go. Okay? Should it go on the top left? Should it go on the top middle? Right? And you can assume that you can see that there's going to be like 7 more conditions for placing those marks, right? We're going to have 9 conditions total, right? Now, after that, we know where the mark should go. Now we need to decide which mark should be created according to turn. And so what we just did is we said, like, when turn is 1, make X1. Okay? So how do I translate that into code? If turn equals, what do I want it to equal? So if turn equals 1, right? If turn equals 1, then I want to make X1. Okay? If turn equals 2, then I want to make O1. That's a new O mark. So you can kind of imagine again that we're going to have like 9 of these, right? X1, O1, X2, O2, X3, O3, right? All the way down the line, okay? And after we're done figuring out which mark should be created, then we want to make sure that we increase turn so that the next time the mouse is clicked, turn, like right now turn is 1, the next time mouse is clicked, I want turn to be 2. So that means I have to increase it here. So say like turn equals turn plus 1. Okay? So again, that goes back to this list right here. So the 2 pieces of code that we just added, we're creating the appropriate mark depending on turn. When turn is 1, make X1. When turn is 2, make O1. When turn is 3, make X2. Okay? So we ended it with that, right? You got to keep going to get the rest of those in. But the last thing that we did is we said we're also going to increase the turn. Okay? because we want it to go basically to the next turn once we're done with turn 1. Okay? And then this repaint, right, tells us to go back up here and do draw again. Okay? So right now I only have X1 drawing and O1 drawing possibly, right? But you'd also want to draw those other marks as well. And if you did that, right, then when I click here, I get my X. When I click there, I get my O. Okay? Now, mine doesn't have more programming than that. Okay? Mine doesn't have, like, X2 and O2 and all that stuff just because I'm not showing you everything. All right? But hopefully you can translate what we've done today and make it your own thing. Okay? And basically finish off the project. Okay? There's still going to be some issues with that. All right? There's still some things that we could fix. Okay, so for example, right now there's nothing wrong with me saying, well, here's my X, I want my O there too. Okay, so that's not good, but that's something that we can think about later.